let's get into it. Let's get into the Drake Maye breakdown here. For a little inside baseball behind the scenes, Taylor sends me the rundown. I set things up. So I see this title, makes 3 big-time throws under pressure. And now I have 3 big-time throws that I saw in this game written down, but I don't want to spoil it. I want to see your breakdown and see if I got them right or wrong. So if you do the honors, take us through it. What did you see from Drake? Let me see these 3 big-time throws from Drake Maye and how he was able to get things going.
And a quick note before we dive in. So as everyone knows, we are no longer, I guess we technically never were.
Yeah, here we go.
To post NFL game tape and like footage. So I can't show you the plays, but a picture is not footage. So what I've tried to do is diagram over some certain screenshots of the plays to try to highlight the most important moments. I'm still trying to figure this out, so bear with me. Comment on things you want differently. Like, this is a process we're all trying to figure out to make this, like I said, the day that I found out about this rule, the best product we can to do the best we can for you guys. So apologies if it's a little clunky, but these plays were sick. So honestly, I don't think I could do anything to mess this up. So, oh God, I shouldn't have said that. All right, so here we go.
No, we're good. We got it.
Can we get the Drake Maye?
Yeah, I got it. There we go.
So the first one we're going to look at is Kyle Williams' 72-yard touchdown, where he hit, I believe it was the 5th fastest time for a wide receiver ball carrier on a pass in the NFL this season. Dude was flying, almost hit 22 miles an hour. This play came in the first quarter with 11 seconds left on the Patriots' own 28-yard line. So the Patriots are going to start out in a 2-back formation, specifically the I, with Jack Westover in front of Travion Henderson. I don't know why I almost said Terrell Henderson. In front of Travion Henderson. And you're going to start out with Austin Hooper by himself on the right side of the formation and a twins look. Twins means both wide receivers on the same side, with Kyle Williams outside and then Mac Hollins a little bit inside. Now, you see Yaya Diaby pointing at Mac Hollins. I think he thinks a crack toss is coming because that's what this look usually is. When you see 2 receivers that close to the formation, they're usually cracking down. But that's not what's actually going to happen because in reality, Mac Hollins is going to shift across the formation to create a situation where both the receivers are on different sides. And what that's going to do is tell Drake Maye what the coverage is. So they're already in a base personnel look. The Buccaneers match with base. What that does for an NFL defense is really shrink down your playbook because most teams are playing in sub packages, right? Nickel, dime, all those things. Your base playbook is probably going to be like 4 or 5 different coverages and rest unless you're really an outlier there. So it makes it more predictable of what they're going to get. So as we're going to see, not obviously in motion, but when Mac goes to shift across the formation, the cornerback who's across from him is going to end up on the other side of the field across from Mac Hollins. The safety doesn't move. He's going to stay right in center field. So what that's going to prompt is Drake Maye right now tapping his helmet. You can also see Jack Westover tapping his helmet. Kyle Williams is about to tap his helmet because now that they've identified single high man coverage, they are going to check to a play action fake. This is a little bit after once everybody got settled, where they're going to fake a blast run. Blast is also, if you play Madden, it's ISO. It's pretty much duo or gap where you're trying to create vertical displacement and move the line of scrimmage. The fullback is going to lead up to the linebacker and ideally give the running back some space. They actually did run blast from this exact same personnel grouping the drive before they ran this play to help set it up. And from the receivers, what we're going to get is Mac Hollins running the first crossing route. This one's going to be a bit higher. And then Kyle Williams is going to run another crossing route, but he's going to be running it underneath. Now, going to the next play, once the ball's been snapped, this
is so good, Taylor. I'm sorry, I got to cut you off. This is perfect. This is exactly what we need to not actually play the film. It's good stuff. I'm loving it. Sorry, continue.
It's basically what we used to do, but I literally just cut out all the video clips.
Yep.
So once the ball is snapped, Drake Maye is now at the top of his drop. The post-snap look is you've got Antoine Winfield buzzing down on this crosser for Mac Hollins. I don't think Drake is actually looking at it, but one thing about this game, they threw outside so many times. I felt like, especially because of the Austin Hooper pass breakup, because of the Austin Hooper pass breakup by Antoine Winfield, and the fact that the last time they played the Buccaneers in 2021, Josh also had a lot of throws that went to the outside, and it felt like more than they usually did. So I was wondering, and I didn't ask anybody because I felt like I wasn't going to get a good answer for this, but I had a feeling that they were trying to just avoid putting Antoine Winfield in positions to blow up their receivers. That's something that Brady used to do. Very different game, obviously, but against the Ravens, he would talk about how against Ed Reed and Ray Lewis, he's like, I'm not throwing over the middle. I'm not putting my receivers in the hospital. Not necessary. So again, Matt Collins is open, but the safety's driving down on it. So instead, you got Kyle Williams running away from coverage against 21, but you also have this defender right here who's actually in man coverage against Austin Hooper. Because Austin's blocking, he's not going to add to the rush. He's just going to try to drop back and present some kind of coverage. But you also see Austin Hooper, who is in pass blocking, is kind of losing this matchup against an edge defender. Now, it's a mismatch. This is one of those where you really got to die slow. And Austin Hooper does a solid job of that, and he does give Drake Maye time to throw. But as you'll see, as Drake Maye cocks back to throw this one, there's a defender bearing down right on him. I highly doubt this was one he didn't feel. And you do have this defender buzzing underneath it. So if Drake throws this with no mind to that defender, this could potentially be an interception or a pass breakup. So what he's got to do is not only make this throw with the defender bearing down on him, he's also got to make sure he's leading Kyle Williams so he can beat coverage and beat this underneath defender and take him out of a potential play. And because it's Drake Maye, that's exactly what he does. The dude is on the ground, as you can see on the right side. He actually told us in his press conference today that he didn't see the catch because he was on the ground. But Austin Hooper's looking back. He's like, oh, crap. That looks like a beautiful ball. Is Kyle about to house this? The ball is right here. He's leading Kyle Williams. And as you can see, he's gotten past the cornerback, and it's past the defensive back. And then once Kyle does make the grab, obviously great job by Drake Maye, who is now out of the frame, leading Kyle Williams into space. Immaculate touch, especially from the arm slot and with the pressure that Drake Maye was facing. He didn't just put this on Kyle Williams flat. He put this upfield, allowing Kyle Williams to get into enough space to just hit the Jets. And the funny thing about these explosive plays I'm noticing as we're doing the screenshot thing is it looks a little bit smoother when you're going a couple seconds. But when the play starts around the 40 and ends in the end zone, it looks a little something like this, where it's like, what the hell just happened? Did he teleport? Basically, he teleported because the dude hit, again, 21 point, I think it was 7-8 miles per hour, takes this from just around the 40-yard line and runs into the end zone. Very, very impressive play from Drake Maye, obviously, to make this throw again with the defender and the pressure bearing down, and Kyle Williams hitting the Jets. And I do have the end zone angle of this, just for another idea of what Drake did on the play. So here, clean pocket, everything looks good. Austin Hooper isn't losing yet. Play keeps going. Oh, Austin Hooper did, in fact, lose inside, and Drake Maye is literally throwing this. I think you can even see him kind of fading back, knowing that he's about to take this hit. And again, like when you're looking at this, man, if he just puts this on a line, this might be an interception.
Yeah.
Right. But he doesn't, and he does take the hit. I don't know if I think I have one more shot, but yeah, that's a big hit, dude. This right in his rib cage, takes that shot. But it doesn't matter because
that's crazy.
There he is again. He's still on the ground. He cannot see, but he does lead Kyle Williams and put it out in front of the defensive back. So great.
Patriots Daily is brought to you by Prize Picks. The hard-hitting football action is even better on Prize Picks. And although the weather might be changing, the feeling of being right never gets old. So keep the season rolling on Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5 right now. It's super simple to play. Just pick more or less on at least two player stats, and if you get your picks right, you could cash in. Play Prize Picks to get action on football in more than 40 states across the country, and Prize Picks is the only app that offers stacks, meaning you can pick the same player 3 times in the same lineup. So don't wait. Head over to Prize Picks right now, download the app, and use code CLNS, and you will get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Again, that's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. His ability to, and I'll move you on to the next one in a second, but just if you go back, can you go back 2 frames? Yeah. No, that's fine. Just, I know we talked about it, but one more. Him sitting right there with his feet not pointed at Kyle Williams whatsoever, with the D end in his face, his arm tilted back, and the fact that he doesn't, again, fire it in there because he's under duress, but is still able to hit that touch shot over that defender. is one of the crazier throws I've seen him make all year. It's incredible. So just wanted to point that out again. But
nah, man, he's on a roll, brother. This was crazy. And I don't even know if it was his craziest throw of the day, as we're going to see. He had a few impressive ones. So this is going to be his throw to Mac Hollins off schedule. This was just absolutely nuts. I tweeted about it last night, a Drake Maye story in 3 parts, where when you just look at the screenshots, without context, it looks like he was just like, I don't need an offensive line, and just makes this throw while literally surrounded by the entire Buccaneers defensive line. But we'll get into that. This was with the Patriots up 21-16, 3 minutes and 45 seconds left in the third quarter, 3rd and 7 situation. And I'll say this was a play that actually reminded me a lot of his completion in the Saints game to Mac Hollins. Very similar situation. That one, he was literally falling forward and threw the ball across his body. It was another dot to Mac Hollins. But on this play specifically, we're starting out 3 receiver set. You're going to go 3 by 1. Kyle Williams isolated at the top across from Jamel Dean. Then you have Hunter Henry at fullback, Travion Henderson in the backfield. Mac Hollins is going to be the slot defender, but he's really serving at the point for Stephon Diggs, who is about to come in motion on the play and create a stack look. Now, what the Patriots are running on this play, it looks initially like they're running their traditional spot concept, where what you'll see a lot of the time is Mac Hollins, or the guy at the point, is going to run something like a crosser or some kind of vertical, and Stephon Diggs motions underneath, and then he runs something short over the middle. And this was one of those examples I mentioned of Josh McDaniels not doing the same thing all the time and switching up his tendencies, because you don't see it because it's not a video, but this defender right here in the middle is specifically going to buzz down to take away Stephon Diggs, thinking he's going to go in the middle, and the guy ends up covering space because Diggs is going vertical on this dagger concept. But what we're really going to focus on is the top of the screen. You got Kyle Williams running a curl route with Travion Henderson in the flat to create a curl flat. As I mentioned, the Patriots threw a lot of curl routes. I'm going to try. I hope I have time to do some kind of breakdown. If I don't, I'm going to do it next week. Okay. Because they ran, I think, 8 different dropbacks where a curl looked like the primary read, and they did it like 5 different ways. It was really cool to see. But this one, pretty straightforward. You line up inside the numbers where the Buccaneers are showing too high defense. So if this is quarters, right? You don't love to throw in the middle against quarters, but at this area, in this range, it's not too dangerous, and you're able to kind of put it in between the void of these 2 players so Kyle Williams doesn't get his head taken off. But as we see, Kyle Williams is going to be running that curl route. I'm going to hop to the end zone angle because I think it gives you a better view of what's happening. Spoiler alert, Kyle Williams gets open on the play, and when Drake hits top of his drop, that's where he's initially looking. Now, you do have this defender right here, Servassier Dennis, but he's going to be following Travion Henderson to the flat, which is going to help create the space for Kyle Williams to get open on that crossing route. But as you'll notice up front, the Buccaneers had a few packages where they were very clearly trying to bait Drake Maye into running. They had a lot of 3-man rushes, which was a really cool thing that Nate Tice pointed out on Twitter. I asked Drake about that today. He said the key to that is being patient. He also told Evan Lazar that teams are spying him more. But this was one where I think it was a miscommunication, to be honest, because if you watch the play, Levante David and Servassier Dennis look like they don't really know who's supposed to go where in this kind of funky front. But on the left side, you're going to get these 2 defenders slanting inside to try to affect the pocket, with Vita Vea, because it's going to seem like there's a whole lot of space here, looping around to keep Drake Maye inside the pocket. And you've also got Levante David on this side. There's no one rushing there, but if Drake thinks, oh, look at all this space, you've also got Levante David able to take him. So that's something we should look out for, especially against some of these teams that blitz a lot. Teams might break their tendencies, just try to flood the coverage and see if Drake Maye can be patient and sit in the pocket, or whether or not he's going to try to scramble and make something happen. The Bucs did a great job in those situations, plastering and not really giving him anywhere to throw. Once again, he's looking left at Kyle Williams, but as I said, that slant ends up actually getting a little bit of penetration, and Drake, he's about to throw with anticipation to Kyle Williams. Again, Servassier Dennis is buzzing out of the window. Right. Kyle Williams is open. But I think it's when he sees this flash of color, and watching JT O'Sullivan, Kurt Warner, they use that term a lot, of flash of color, which just means it's a color that's not your team's jerseys
jersey in front
your
of you.
face.
Yeah.
Right. And I try to give some grace for those plays because I can understand you might not want to take the risk of throwing it if you feel like the guy might make a play on it. I still feel like you could have gotten this into Kyle, but he double pumps. Whatever it is, what it is, he still makes a good play out of it. But you get this penetration, and it's going to get him to move. But again, Vita Vea is about to loop over to the outside. And that's what we're going to see. Drake, he's like, all right, I'm not going to throw. Let me try to buy time because I have all this room. Gets outside the pocket where Vita Vea is literally waiting for him. All 350 pounds of this bad MFer is waiting to take Drake Maye's head off. Drake does a phenomenal job here. Not just making Vita Vea miss, but keeping both hands on the ball and kind of pulling it away. Now, it's one of those where if Vita is a little bit more aware and is like able to punch his arm, maybe we're talking about something different, but it works. He gets the ball away from pressure and, again, keeps two hands on it, which is the biggest coaching point. We see it right here. Two hands on the ball, leaves Vita Vea grasping in air. But now Drake Maye's got to make a move because you have Levante David about to come over to join the party. And you've got the entire offensive line on this side and the Buccaneers defensive line on the wrong side of that wall. But Drake Maye, with three defenders bearing down on him, is going to see that Matt Collins at the top of the screen has his hand up and is waiting to get this ball. But once again, you do have a defender over the middle of the field. His momentum is pulling him a little bit away from where Matt Collins is going. It's also, once Drake really sets up, it feels like his shoulders were pointed more inside than the throw was. I think that was part of what affects the coverage here. But great job by him again with all of these defenders. And he knows Vita Vea is behind him, I'm sure, too. So really, the entire Buccaneers defensive line is on the wrong side of the Patriots
the offensive line.
The offensive line, and I think this is looks like, or whoever this is
Hunter,
like,
I think.
Hunter, yeah, I'm sorry. It's the wristband chisel. Yeah. That's what kind of threw me off. Being like, what the hell is going to happen here? But Drake delivers on the throw. Everybody gangs up on him. He doesn't go down, which was pretty impressive. And you remember, this is still a pretty big dude. Doesn't go down, but he does get hit, and still Matt Collins able to make this catch in that void. You see 27, he was kind of flowing there. Drake puts it behind him. Mac makes the catch and then also fights forward a little bit, so they end up getting the ball right around the 45-yard line. But another impressive throw from Drake, being able to extend. Maybe he puts himself in a bad position, but he makes one of the best interior pass rushes in the NFL miss. Again, shows better ball security than what he's shown in the past. And with three defenders trying to, or setting up to hit him, knowing he's not going to come out of this clean, still able to fire, throw away from coverage, and lead his receiver to space. Great job on 3rd and 7. And really exciting because Matt Collins, this was his first 100-yard game since 2022, and it's the second time in 3 weeks that Matt Collins has led the Patriots in receiving yards. I don't know if he's going to do it for a third time necessarily, but if Kayshon Boutte doesn't play, just more opportunities for Matt Collins to stay on the field and make an impact. It's not the last time we're going to talk about Matt Collins in this breakdown.
I was going to say, I want to hit on, we'll hit on Mac and Kyle Williams a little bit later. I know we have one more play in here as well. So we'll get to those guys, how the impact they're having on this team. That is Kyle Williams and Matt Collins. And we have, like I said, one more play here to break down. But first, I got to split us up to talk about our friends over at, you guessed it, Omaha Steaks. There's the burger right there. Omaha Steaks is the official sponsor of tailgating. From legendary burgers to mouth-watering steaks, deli-style franks, and more, you will elevate your next game day. Get together with America's original butcher, Omaha Steaks. They have legendary flavors that are served in stadiums and homes across the country. And now they have a 50% off site-wide sale, and you can also get an additional $35 off the top at omahasteaks.com using our exclusive promo code Patriots at checkout. Terms apply. See site for details. Again, it is some of the best food on the market. Ships right to your door. Throw it in the freezer, cook it whenever you want, and it is truly top quality meat. So again, head over to omahasteaks.com, and with their exclusive site-wide offer right now, 50% off site-wide, you can also get an additional $35 off the top using promo code Patriots at checkout. Terms apply. See site for details. All right, we got one more play here, one more big-time play here from Drake Maye to break down. So I'll kick it back to you, Taylor, to take a look at that one.
Thanks, buddy. So this is going to be...
Sorry, I'm on screen.
Where'd I go? Oh, I thought I died. Okay,
so did I.
I'm alive, and I'm back.
There we go.
And we are on the last play. So this is going to, of course, be the deep ball to Matt Collins. Again, like I said with the last play, shades of the Saints game where Drake had a very similar play where he makes some magic happens, completes it to Matt Collins in a relatively tight window, kind of off schedule. This reminded me of the deep shot that Drake took where he had the one to Stephon Diggs. Nope, that's coming back. And he was like, all right, screw you. I'm going to do it again, and put so much air on the ball. Now, that time, Matt Collins wasn't able to create separation, had his arm pulled down, and he didn't make the one-handed catch. This time, Mac does a much better job getting separation, gets himself wide open, and Drake puts so much air on this ball. I don't care how well Mac was covered. I don't know that cornerbacks can do anything, because at some point, if you feel like you're in phase, you're going to look up and try to find the ball. but you aren't the receiver, right? So as soon as you transition, you slow down. Those moon balls, the ones that Russell Wilson's known for, any of these guys who can literally put 50 yards of air distance on the pass, really hard to defend because you're just running for like 30 yards. But anyway, this is a really impressive play showing Drake Maye's arm talent. And again, a big play that he made before taking a huge hit just like he did in that Saints game on a similar play. So, whoops, where was my background for anybody who was curious? But this is 21-16, tighter game here in the fourth quarter, 7:27 left, 3rd and 14 situation, but it's Drake Maye. So, of course, you're not going to sit and just throw a screen. You're going to go for it. Patriots, once again, in a 11 personnel package, similar to what we saw before. This time, though, they're in a split back look. When the Patriots are in these split back looks, especially with the tight end opposite the running back, you're pretty sure that they're going to chip on the edges so that the Patriots can get a downfield concept going. So on the bottom of the screen, once again, isolated in that X receiver role, you've got Kyle Williams. To the top of the screen, you've got Mac Hollins as your Z. And in the slot, you've got Stephon Diggs. Now, the route concept on this one's going to be very simple. I'm not sure if Stephon Diggs is actually supposed to sit on this or if he runs a crosser and sits it down because he sees the coverage, but he's going to end up sitting right on top of the Buccaneers skeleton on the flag. And then on the outside, you just got a couple of 9 routes, right? Just, again, against this off coverage, the key is putting enough air on it that your guys can go get it. And Mac Hollins, if you don't make contact with him, we've talked about it, he is so tall. When he gets striding, it's just very hard to stop him, and he's a really fast player in that regard. So, again, you're going vertical on this play. But pre-snap, the Buccaneers look like they're going to be in some kind of quarters coverage, which is fine for Drake Maye. It doesn't really necessarily affect the decision to make this throw, but post-snap, they're actually going to go from this what looks like a quarters look where both safeties are high to post-snap. They're going to transition and drop that safety to the boundary to create a single high look. Even more reason for Drake Maye to decide to go deep and outside the numbers. Now, when he decides to do this, you're going to see that Mac Hollins is still trying to beat the cornerback, but he does a great job here. Live, I thought it was a double move, but really he just gives him a little inside nod at the top for the corner. And with the cornerback looking at Drake Maye, who's clearly about to make a throw, and all the curls that they ran, my guess was that he's anticipating that Mac is about to settle this down because he's at the sticks. And they're thinking, oh, it's going to be another curl route. But nope, Mac, again, just a quick inside nod, but then he takes off. And as Drake Maye actually does get ready to throw, you start to see that Mac is gaining ground. Now he's on the defender's toes. And what do we say on the show, Mike? If he's even...
He's leaving, baby.
He's leaving, baby. And once again, Drake Maye. Now, Will Campbell was pretty good in this game, but he did give up a couple of pressures here. You kind of see him in no man's land a little bit. And there's some pressure bearing down. I think this one was a twist where Jared Wilson didn't seem to realize that somebody was coming around. And also, they just weren't on good levels. And on these twists at this point, I'm kind of done saying who was at fault unless it's very, very obvious because the players always tell us that there's so many different factors, but clearly something went wrong on the left side, and Drake Maye is about to take another huge shot. Like, look, this is an unblocked defender, and his ribs are very much exposed, but he
wide
doesn't
open
care because he's Drake Maye. Shout out to the NFL Stock Exchange, 2 of my favorites. I love you boys. But all right, Drake Maye letting this one go once Mac Hollins is starting to get even as he's about to take a huge shot. And like I said, with these long balls, it kind of screws me on the screenshot method because it looks insane when Drake lets this go as Mac is just around the 45. Mac doesn't catch the ball until he's past the 20. So much air on this. It allowed him to just keep running, get past the corner. He catches this ball, sets the Patriots up in the low red zone, and he actually kind of drags him a little bit so it sets them up inside the 10-yard line. Just, this was, I think, his best throw of the day. Obviously, the other two incredibly impressive, but to put that much air on it again, when you are setting up to throw, knowing you're going to take a shot, I don't even know if he wears a rib pad or rib guard.
Flak jacket is
the
what
flak
it's
jacket.
called. Yeah.
Oh my God. Like I didn't play Madden back in the day.
Yeah, right.
Yes, the flak jacket. I don't know if he wears one. Maybe he should because, man, if you're going to be this brave, you got to protect yourself. But yeah, man, those are the MVP plays that you talk about where you really needed this play. Obviously didn't go great because he ends up turning the ball over after setting them up in a great position. But you still have a quarterback who is putting you inside the red zone when you are facing 3rd and 14 this was in their own, I think this was in their own territory. Let me go back.
Yeah, no, it was that deep.
Yes. Yep. Bro,
it's crazy. Look how far that's
He lets this ball. Yeah. So he lets this ball go, Drake, when he is right at about the 30-yard line. It's not even field flipping position. That's just teleporting from one side of the field to the other. Man, Drake Maye. Drake
So-
Maye. Drake Maye.
Drake Maye.
Am I having a stroke? Oh my
I think so.
god. That was crazy.
Drake
Oh my
Maye.
God. How
Shout
do they
out
do
Drake
it?
Maye lover. Shout out the NFL Stock Exchange there. A great nickname for New England's new hero that is Drake Maye. The one thing I did want to say, the guesses I had for the big time throws, it was the last two. I don't know why the Kyle Williams one slipped my mind, and I don't know, honestly.
It wasn't that far downfield. I get it.
And I don't know why I gave this one credit when I was brainstorming, because it doesn't count because he threw the pick 3 plays later, Taylor. Don't you know that? That play is null and void now. But the other one that I had that it was a big time throw, but it wasn't necessarily a deep throw, was the rub route, pick route touchdown to Steph Diggs on the goal line.
Yeah.
I was waiting for that.
I might break that down if we do get into some Josh McDaniel scheme stuff, which I think this is a great use for that because it is a little bit slower, and I think the pictures are better when you can see where guys are lined up and all that. But yeah, that was a beauty. Great scheme from Josh McDaniels and great execution from Stephon Diggs and Drake Maye. He's making so many big plays and awesome highlights that I can't even fit them all in my little quick modest breakdown. So there you go, man. Is Drake Maye right now the most deserving? I don't know. I really don't know, but he absolutely still deserves to be in the conversation and to be one of the guys that really is getting a lot of run because it's just the things that he's putting on tape every week. Sure, there's mistakes, but as I've said plenty of times, he's doing 4 or 5 things that other quarterbacks can't do. So, or most quarterbacks can't do. Got a lot of good ones, but Joe Burrow's not making a lot of those throws. As much as I like me some Joe Burrow, Drake Maye's different.